My name is Carmen Nicolae. I am a medical engineer working as a research assistant for Polytechnic University of Bucharest. So I'm based in Bucharest. I am in my third year of doctoral studies. I am also an associate teacher for the Faculty of Medical Engineering, where I teach third year students. And on the side, I am involved in science communication. I specialize in training young people with scientific and technological backgrounds to better interact with the public. I try my best to contribute to developing innovative treatment options so their treatment is always complete. In the big picture, I'm trying to help people that suffer from bone defect to receive complete treatment options that will definitely not lead to impaired healing. By developing this kind of personalized therapies, I want to contribute to making sure that patients always get reliable and complete methods of treatment so their healing goes on well without any side effects. The resource I'm lacking most is time, but it's not something anyone can provide me with. But what will really help is forming communities of specialists, interdisciplinary communities of specialists that are focused on treating the same issue, resolving the same problem. So putting together a team that works on this thing, I'm sure we can achieve more than we can achieve on our own. I noticed working in research that the scientific community could really work on improving science communication, and not only the kind of communication you see in scientific conferences where specialists talk to other specialists and they all talk the same language and understand each other, but the kind of scientific communication that can be addressed to all kinds of public regardless of their background. So I got involved into organizing, managing, and delivering training and contest sessions of scientific communication activities for young students, young researchers, and specialists to help them interact better with the public, express themselves so everyone can understand them. I'm sure that by improving science communication, this could help everyone from combating miscommunication, for example. And we've seen with the COVID-19 pandemics that there's an undeniable need for trustworthy science communicators, to why not stemming partnership opportunities, not only between specialists, but only between specialists and patients, specialists and companies, because we also have to check out with the end users of our research, because we cannot solve their issues if we don't really ask them what's needed. Better interacting with people working on the same topic, because I'm sure there's a lot of people working on this, but we need to get together and put our minds to solve these issues. For me, working for the Polytechnic University of Bucharest really feels like home, because I've been a student here for the past 9 years, and I am currently working with the people that actively contributed and still contribute daily to my development as a specialist in this field. And it really feels like a small family. We have great means of putting together science and fun, so we can have really highly important scientific discussions in both in very formal and informal manner. So it's both fun, it's challenging, and it's pleasant overall. Well, the story starts when I was young, because I was inspired by my parents. When they would get home from work, none of them would just go on with their lives and so on. They would sit down, open their laptops, and start working on something, self teaching themselves how to code, how to, I don't know, whatever was in their minds. And I was always challenged by this, especially by my father, for example. When I started studying science and informatics, he was also learning how to code, and we would have those competitions at home on who could write the scientific an algorithm that could fix something or do a specific function, and we were fighting on who can write it in the fewest lines of code. They gave me this curiosity that leaned me towards the scientific field. Initially, I wanted to be a doctor as a kid, as most kids do probably. But then growing up, I realized that the medical engineering and research field really ticks all the boxes from me, because it allows me to help people, work in the medical field, while also performing various analyses, write, process data, use state-of-the-art equipment, and so on. At first, I imagined the scientist profile as a cliche, like the mad scientist with the white lab coat, always immersed in some research with low to zero communication interests. And in some aspects, it is like I imagined it, meaning I'm always wearing my lab coat and I'm always thinking about how I can overcome something that's got me stuck in my research, for example. But fortunately, some other aspects are not like I imagined it, because all the scientists I've met are really nice people. They are passionate. They work from a place of curiosity and a drive to put in their best. And yeah, it's generally nice. It's better than I expected, to put it like that. I enjoy most of the work I'm doing, but what really ticks for me, what my heart beats for, is those eureka moments that you have from time to time when you figure out why your reaction wasn't working or what you did wrong in some project, and it's those epiphanies that usually come at the most random moments. For example, when you're taking a shower or having dinner out with friends, and you realize, oh yeah, that's why. I usually try to really separate working hours from my free time to avoid feeling overworked or burnt out. But I catch myself sometimes thinking I could be getting ready for bed and thinking, so if I use zero point 0.3 grams of cellulose, what is the report between the. And in the middle of a conversation with, for example, my partner, that happens as well. So there are some things that I usually cannot let go of home, especially when I've hit a wall. That's what keeps me busy. But I'm trying to control the impulse of actually opening my laptop and working during my free time. As I already mentioned, I'm a little concerned about science communication, about improving the communication within the science community. Another thing that could be mentioned is I think the technological transfer could be done better if we can all come together from all the fields that we have to go through to actually make something go from the lab on the shelves, and actually for MDs to be able to use it with their patients. I think that could be the process could be sped up a little bit if we work together to do that. About my project, I don't think there's anything I dislike particularly. I really love working on it, and I think I'm lucky that I'm a curious person, because every time I encounter challenges, I take them as puzzles and try to not to get frustrated about it. I'm not very fond of doing the dishes. I mean, it's still something I do every day, but it's not my favorite thing to do after a long day of performing various experiments. In my lab particularly, I love working on the 3D printer and testing the materials that I've created and seeing if they actually work for the targeted application or not. But to a more general thing that I do in the lab and I enjoy doing is putting everything back where it belongs when I start a new experiment. I like cleaning everything up so I can start on a clean mind state and with everything in order. The way I see it now, I will be continuing to form myself as a specialist in the biomaterials and medical engineering field. Of course, I will go on with teaching if I have the chance, because I love teaching. While teaching, I realized I really like putting complicated stuff into simple words. That's what drove me towards the science communication part. And I love to see the sparks in my students' eyes when I explain something to them and they click, they connect some dots, and it's like, okay, this is what happened. So yeah, the way I see it right now, I will be in the academia zone doing science and with a side of science communication as well. I always thought the scientific community could improve its science communication, meaning not only the kind of science communication you see in scientific conferences where specialists talk to other specialists, but the kind of scientific communication that everyone can understand regardless of their background. In this regard, I got involved in science communication activities, meaning within the last year, I got involved in organizing, managing, and delivering a training and contest event for students events around our country and outside. And it's called Games of Science, and it consists of a training and then a contest, an eliminatory contest, where young people like students and young researchers and professionals in the field can fight, if I can call it so, in who delivers best a short scientific speech so that everyone can understand it. In brief, my scientific project is focused on personalized therapies for bone tissue regeneration. I know it sounds complicated, but to break it down, for example, if someone has a missing piece of bone, instead of treating that bone defect with conventional therapies, which are usually metallic implants or screws, I work on fabricating three-dimensional structures called scaffolds that could help your natural tissue regenerate by itself. Ideally, this kind of scaffold can be modulated so their degradation rate can be tuned in order for the scaffold to degrade as your new bone tissue forms and it replaces it in time. I applied because I believe that we need to get together as specialists from multiple fields. And as I said before, we need to put our minds together because I think that by forming these kind of communities, we can resolve bigger and bigger issues. We can overcome bigger and bigger milestones and limitations. And knowing Eppendorf, I know that this initiative would lead to creating a community that could satisfy those things, that could push the limits of the scientific community we have right now.